When I think epic, overpowered characters that shape the entirety of the story by their sheer awesomeness, I think of characters like Orumaitu from My Hero Academia, or Lord Escanor from the Seven Deadly Sins. But most of all, I think of a character that's a little lesser known, a character that I don't think nearly as many people regard in such extravagance, and that is the world's strongest man, King from One Punch Man. So one of the most common memes that rears its head on the internet is the Chuck Norris meme. You know, Chuck Norris is completely overpowered. He can annihilate an entire enemy army with his beard alone. Or Shaggy, who's only been using 0.4% of his power all along. And of course, I would say Lord Twigo, but that's not even a meme, that's reality. Now, King is a meme within the world of One Punch Man, and it's beautiful. His heart's racing so quickly, everyone's like, oh my god, it's the King engine! He's revving up his power! He's going to annihilate everyone. When in actuality, he's just freaking heart, and his heart is beating really quickly. He is the living embodiment of the Chuck Norris meme, and it works, mostly because of his dazzling handsomeness. Being that the entirety of One Punch Man is a surface level meme with underlying awesomeness, King of course is no exception to this rule, and quite the contrary. In fact, King is the rule. King makes the rules. King K rule. That was a terrible reference. Now, I don't only love King for the epic memes, but you have to realize the memes are epic. King, as far as a character by his own right, is great, and I love him, but he only really shines in contrast with literally everyone else in the world. Atomic Samurai. He wants to fight someone extremely powerful. He only respects people that he can sense have high abilities, like Bang! Or King. Yeah, that's right. King is one of the people he senses to have high abilities because he's so powerful, he can hide his abilities from Atomic Samurai, which is very cool and plays into the Chuck Norris meme brilliantly. King in contrast to Fubuki. Fubuki is picking on Saitama and wants Saitama to join her little group and sees that King just hangs around by him, playing video games with him. That terrifies her to her core. King is the strongest man alive, and he's just hanging out with Saitama. It breaks down the entire social infrastructure of what she perceived the Hero Association to be, and the meme is epic. The Chuck Norris meme lives. In contrast to literally every monster that always talks about how they would lose to King, how they fear King, how the only three heroes who can actually face Elder Centipede would be Tatsumaki, Blast, and King. So even though King does not have any feats to his name, he has a ton of feats to his name. It's all a matter of perspective. He himself, completely powerless, cannot defeat anyone, at least so it seems. He can scare his opponents half to death due to his sheer reputation and death stare. There was even this one hilarious line in the manga where King is basically saying, punching monsters to death? That's lame. Scaring monsters to death is where it's at. Because he's done that. In his first introduction as a powerless hero, he stares down Lizard Dude and defeats him with the sheer willpower he possessed and his reputation alone. The victories that are granted to King are the victories that Saitama had but did not take credit for. King was always in the right place at the right time or the wrong place at the wrong time, depending on your perspective, and he is now hailed as the strongest hero. Now, this does not exactly follow the All Might formula. I mean, All Might was the Superman of My Hero Academia. He was the strongest character around, but at the end of the day, even more importantly than he was strong, he was the symbol of hope. He wasn't at full power 24 hours a day. He can only use his power sparingly, and even though he had these massive flaws, he did not let the world know, and his sheer expressions he made were enough to push the world forward. He always said that even more importantly than his tremendous strength, it was his smile that kept society going. Now, King serves an actually surprisingly similar purpose in the One Punch Man world. Being that King is someone that looks terrifying and that will stare anyone down no matter how much he's pissing in his pants simultaneously, he makes the perfect vessel for the strongest man in the world. The only downside is he's not. He's a mix between the luckiest and unluckiest man in the world. And it's this dynamic that works so well as far as building a character up that contrasts beautifully with everything else in One Punch Man. Every hero, every villain, every monster, every interaction with King is pure bliss, and no interactions are better than King being the weakest character in the series with Saitama, the strongest character in the series. I waited until this point to do this video because at the end of the tournament arc, Saitama was feeling a bit bad about himself. He went to experience martial arts. He thought there was something that could push him to his limits, and this is the first time he actually mentions in the entire series that he's bored and he's lonely. He basically said he was depressed without using that word, and the person he told was King. Now, I'm going to be doing a full analysis video on Saitama when season 2 ends. Definitely subscribe for that! And I want it to be like a magnum opus on Saitama's character, because even though people touch various themes about who he is, his depression or his solitude, no one really evaluates the full picture. And that's really what I'm working on. King is a big piece of the puzzle. So this is the King video, whammin' and gentlewomen, the Almighty of One Punch Man. And I used All Might as a metaphor for King. It's an epic meme, and that's what King is. But on a deeper level, it fits his thematic relevance so dead on, it's almost scary. If you look at what Saitama is in the world, he is the strongest hero. He takes down the most dangerous villains, and as outsiders, all of us viewers know that. All of us viewers know he gets credit for all of King's massive feats that gives him the reputation of the world's strongest man. However, he does not have the All Might formula that makes society feel more comfortable. Society looks up to King, and the monsters dread King. Saitama is an anomaly that no one knows about, aside from his select few ragtag harem of King Genos Fubuki, Bang Bomb, and Klein from Sword Art Online. To put this into slightly more My Hero Academia numbers, Endeavor is known to defeat more villains than All Might, by a large margin. That said, the world still looks up to All Might. Similarly enough, Saitama beats a hell of a lot more monsters than King, but the world looks up to King, and King is more important for the world in different regards. I find this fascinating because one of the massive themes in My Hero Academia, as well as in One Punch Man, funnily enough, is what makes a hero. And in One Punch Man, there is no definitive answer. Every hero has their own reason to be doing what they're doing, some for more heroic and noble causes, and some for, well, the opposite. You can ask yourself for almost every single hero, especially among the S-Class, why they're doing what they're doing, and no answer would make Stain happy. Aside from maybe Pooty Pooty Prisoner. Pooty Pooty Prisoner is the ideal hero, and I will sing his praises forever. Power of love, fam. Power of love. So that's why it's so fitting that when the tournament arc ends, Saitama walks out all sad, and he's talking to King, and the reason why he talks to King I'll talk about in Saitama's video. King says to him, look, I get that you're the strongest hero, but why don't you strive to be the best hero? This is something that Saitama did not even understand. This phrase did not compute with Saitama's philosophy and ideology of what a hero is. He just went through the tournament arc. He just fought a bunch of monsters where he showed Suiryu the light about what it is to be a hero. Until this point, Suiryu was overpowered. He defeated everyone at all times. He was almost in a Saitama predicament, except he was still having fun because he wasn't that overpowered that he was out of the league of everyone's imaginations. He was just out of their leagues. And after being defeated, he was eventually saved by a hero. The hero that he fought in the past. And during their fight in the tournament arc, Suiryu said to Saitama, I see myself in you. We're the same. We're both bored because we're both so powerful and we both need to live to have fun. And when he insulted the ideal of a hero, that's really what pissed Saitama off. Saitama said, no, heroes are great. He then beat Suiryu, beat Bakuzan, beat Gotetsu, and with tears in his eyes, Suiryu asked Saitama to become his disciple. Suiryu looked up to heroes because of what Saitama taught him. Saitama taught him that a hero is someone that protects the weak, someone that defeats monsters. Whether it's for credit, for glory, for fame, or whatever the reason, it doesn't matter. The reasoning behind defeating the monsters is irrelevant as long as the monsters are defeated and people are saved. Saitama, despite being bored and despite being disconnected from society in more ways than one, still holds on to these ideals that forged the hero that he eventually became. So after this whole great tournament arc, which essentially built up Saitama's vision of what a hero is and inspired Suiryu with this vision, he meets King, and King says, I get you're the strongest hero, but maybe work on being the best hero, and Saitama didn't get it. Saitama's ideology of a hero is 100% 100% correct, but that's purely from a physical perspective. The underlying reasoning matters so much more as well, and that's what King was saying. And I'll use my Hero Academia metaphor again. Endeavor defeated the most villains. He defeated way more villains than All Might, and despite that, he was not regarded as the number one hero. He was not looked up to by society nearly as much as All Might was, because it's not what you do, but it's how you do it too. When Endeavor met Stain, it's not that Endeavor met an opposing ideology. It's that Endeavor built an opposing ideology. It was Endeavor's callousness that created him, and that's purely because he did the right things for the wrong reasons. Now, I'm not coming to say that Saitama's an Endeavor and he's creating Stain vigilante creatures to run forth and ravage the universe. Saitama's a really great dude, and the focus of the story is not on how he negatively affects society as much as on how much society negatively affects him based on his own solitude. King gave him place to grow. Saitama, with a lack of growth and a lack of ability to accomplish, feels like an empty shell. What's the point of becoming the strongest if you can no longer get stronger? This is an all too relatable thing that I believe everyone struggles with. Not that they've reached a point where they can no longer progress, but a lack of progression. Accomplishment is the bane of depression. I don't understand how someone cannot accomplish and not be depressed. But Saitama isn't someone who isn't trying to accomplish and trying to grow. He'd love to grow, but he can't. However, since his mind is set so firmly on his ideal of a hero, being actions as opposed to the reasonings behind the actions, someone like King giving him advice and telling him that he's not the best hero was laughable to Saitama. Saitama couldn't even grasp his words, and Saitama will continue living in his solitude until he finds a way out. Now, I say this completely in King's credit, because just like Saitama is someone who views the entire world around him as a complete par, where it doesn't matter who he's fighting, they're all equivalent in his eyes. Gotetsu being this massive powerhouse coming to alter the perception of reality of the people in the tournament arc, as I mentioned in my philosophy of Gotetsu video, which I'll link at the end and in the description. It was something that didn't even faze Saitama. Saitama cannot differentiate between what a big threat or what a small threat is, being that they're all infinitely distant from him. He's at a point where it's all equal. So far beneath him that how can he relate to anyone? To someone like Genos, different monsters have different power levels, and that really matters. There's some monsters he could defeat and some that defeat him. Regardless, he'll end up beaten up and he'll be half destroyed, needing to get repairs by the great Dr. Kusuno. No matter who he's fighting, if I'd fight Genos, he'd probably win, but he would still need repairs from the great Dr. Kusuno. That just seems to be how it goes for the poor guy. But the point is, Saitama's living without any struggling, and literally everyone around him is struggling, and he can't even fathom what they're struggling against. Now, the reason why King is such a perfect contrast to this is because King lives the same exact way as Saitama. To King, everyone is so much more powerful than he is. He's trapped in a world of the most powerful monsters where he's revered as the most powerful hero. He's the strongest man alive, so all of his surroundings, whether they're the top heroes or the top monsters, they're also all equivalent. He also cannot differentiate and cannot relate to the struggles that the different heroes and monsters go through. Just like Saitama is looking at everything from top down, infinitely distant from him, so they're all equivalent and disassociated, King is looking from bottom up. And because he's doing that, he's equally disassociated. This is why the dynamic and friendship between King and Saitama is so damn beautiful. Even though Saitama views King on par with all the heroes and monsters below him as infinitely weaker than him, and even though King views Saitama on par with all the monsters and heroes infinitely above him, they're both alone in this world of heroes and monsters where they're completely disassociated with everyone. And it's this disassociation that brings them together. King and Saitama, despite knowing each other far less than, for example, Saitama and Genos, have bonded far deeper so much faster. Even though Saitama knows logically King is a fraud and far, far weaker than everyone else, he can't perceive it. And even though King views Saitama as far, far stronger than everyone else, he also can't perceive it. But not only that, they're both alone. They're both lacking accomplishment, and they both feel terrible. King is getting praised for what he didn't do, and Saitama can't grow to do more. And both of these situations cause each of them depression, and gave each of them the perfect friend in one another, despite being drastic opposites. Funnily enough, if you were to ask me which anime character character is most similar to Saitama of all time, I would probably say King, even though they're the same for different reasons, as weird as that phrase sounds. I won't get into any manga spoilers in regards to King's character. I feel like this is really the point I wanted to get across. By his own right, he's a damn fascinating character, showing how reputation can destroy someone's self-worth. But where he really shines is in contrast with literally every other character in the series. And he's a freaking awesome meme! That's the 3 Nux criteria right there. Dope character by his own right, dope character thematically in his setting, and dope character meme-wise. That's everything you could want. Truly fitting of the title King. I'm proud for Lord Twigo to have such a proper second in command. And since you probably don't know, his real name is King, but his hero name, Oru Furaitu. And I'm glad I could revive that meme for one more moment today. If you recognize that meme, I'm proud of you. You've been here for a while. Because you know what his special ability is? Well, hell yeah, it's Run for Oru. And despite that fact, he's still the all might of One Punch Man. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you did enjoy this video. Leave a like if you did, it actually helps. And subscribe for future anime analysis or satire or memes or mixed content. It's gonna be dope. Hit that bell to actually get notified when I upload videos. That would be even more dope. Link in the description to my Twitter. Feel free to follow me there, as well as the link to my Patreon. All patrons are invited to the Discord server, and I especially wanted to thank David Anole, Negus Nogus, Burning Bush, Rise Warren, Sage of Snake, Wilson Fletcher, Team Sparky65, Nemo, Girthy Wim Jim, Chunky Nibbles, Allison Stricker, The Wolf of Gar, JD Fincher, E-Laser, Shin, The Ethan, Ravy Landa, Kevin McLean, Jordan, Frisky Dingo, White Noise 32, Stamley Ransrude, Talon, Bestest Daddy, Cross, Mitchell Garnett, Miriam Ramirez, Trigreen, Hammers the Great, Ian Martin, Praise Lord Girgameshu, Billy Thompson, Serial Flex Offender, Shinon, Lord Sasho Maru, Kid Ori, JJ Slabrams, Joshua Faber, Semor Butts, The Night Brights, LJ, Kaiser Wanar, Dan Soko, Nothing But a Fan, Divine Reigns, Hexile, Teakui, Skylar Leg, some guy named Bob, Samuel Guzman, Burning Halo, Los Polos Hermanos, Juan Centano, King Rainbow, Jeffrey Baltasar, Camelane, and Karma. Thanks to the Lord Twigger Rank, Anthony Booth, Steelers, Chubbs is the Man, Noctris 13, Zach Klapperick, Pod 6 was Jerks, Elliot Gonzalez, MD, Adria Pika, Soza Nerdified, Everest, The Ninth Master, and Typical Anime. Thanks to the God Usopp Rank, Dark Element, Eduardo Flores, Steve, Muafak, Necro, Sunny Parks, and Esposito. And thank you to the men, the myths, the legends, Steve, the Turametel, and Gintama for life. Thank you all so much. You have no idea how much this actually helps me. It really keeps the channel alive, and it helps me upload as frequently as I do. I am in your debt. I hope you did enjoy this video. A lot of people wanted me to do a OP analysis on King, and well, I guess here you go. I basically said he's equal to Saitama, at least on some wavelengths. Have yourselves the most wonderful evening, and remember to stay weird, fam.